Good morning. Hello, I'm Nancy Comstock. I'm Fancy Nancy from www.fancynancystamps.com, and yes, I really do stamp a whole lot. Just a minute, I want to grab this. That's what happens when I do something kind of fancy. Welcome. I am here. This is day one of 15 days of stamping with you. And let me tell you a little bit about that. I am celebrating my 15th anniversary with Stampin' Up. Now, I've been stamping a lot longer than 15 years. I'm a 25-year veteran of this wonderful, wonderful hobby. But I discovered Stampin' Up, I don't know, it must have been about 1996, and I joined as a demonstrator in 2006 when my schedule certainly allowed me to do that. And so I'm very excited to be here with you today to spend a little time stamping. I also want you to know, because this is my celebration, I'm going to have a kind of a nice little special at the end, so I hope you'll stay with me. I can't wait to share it with you. But let's get started. Let's see what we've got, and let's have some fun. Today I'm stamping with Free as a Bird, and let me show you the card that we are going to make. Let's see if I might be able to bring this up just a little bit closer. Come on. There we go. So that you can see. It just really took off on me. There we go. It's a fun fold card. And I still haven't got my focus here. We'll get it. Come on. I'm going to try it again. Just stay with me, please. A little bit more. There we go. It's a fun fold card, and I got this idea from Patty Bennett, who's a wonderful demonstrator. So let's just get this back on for you. Who is a wonderful demonstrator, and she showed 3 different ways to use this material to make this card, and I'm going to do one of those for you today. I'm also, the fold is one of the things I'm showing. Free as a Bird is one of the things I'm showing, but I am also using sentiments from the Many Messages stamp set. And so we have a little bit of work to do to get going on this card, so I'm going to set it aside for just a minute, and let's get going. Make sure I get all my materials. First thing I'm going to do is to use our Stamparatus. And for those of you who are not real familiar with the Stamparatus, I want you to know that this is one of the ways that we can stamp multiple images, or if we're concerned about how our image, if we think we might have to add a second layer, this is our best way of doing it. So I'm going to get out my Many Messages stamp set, which I know I have set aside right here. It is really fun in that it has many messages on it, but even more importantly, it's all one big stamp. So it's only one pass through our emboss machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my paper down, and I'm going to leave enough space around the perimeter so that my stamp will stamp well. I want this in the middle so that there will be equal pressure. So I'm going to get my stamp on here, and now I am going to ink it up with Versamark because I am going to emboss these images. The one thing about something like this is that it's really hard to get enough ink on such a big image. So that's why this gives you a chance to really look it over and say, did I really ink it up the way I wanted to? I have put a mark here where I want my paper, and I'm now going to just turn and press. Give it a lot of good, firm. And take a look. I think it needs a little bit more ink, so I'm going to do it again. Again, this is why this is the way to stamp this image. Okay, let's try it again. Make sure our paper is still in the same location. Again, press nice and firmly. And now I have a really good image. Typically, I would then put my embossing powder on it. I would apply, and then I would after you can see that it's on there, I would heat it and dry emboss. Now I have already done that because I didn't want to have all these tools in one place at this time. So what I want to show you next is that I have a piece of many messages that you can very clearly see. And I'm going to put my die on top of it. Now you would think it would be really hard to organize this, but what I want to show you is that there are hearts. Let me lift this up. There are hearts and stars. And if you use those as your base or as your guide, you will have no trouble putting on your die. And I'm going to tell you, I like to use this 3M cover tape. So now it's on here very firmly and I can roll it through. So one pass through the machine is going to give us, I don't know, about 22 messages, I think. And I did that, as I told you, all prepared. And I ended up, I'm going to use these three messages, which is, I'm happy to celebrate these moments with you. I just wanted to say, whoops, and happy birthday. Okay? So that's what we're going to use on our card. The next thing is, I have to talk a little bit about paper. I love Designer Series paper. And you can use it as a background, or you can use it as just an element on your card. Now I want to tell you that I purchased this paper. This is its third year in the catalog, and so the paper came that very first year. Generally, Stampin' Up! Does not carry paper multiple years. There have been, as long as I have been in the company, 2 exceptions that I know about. But generally, the paper is something that is when it first comes out. So I make a point, I watch at the end of a catalog, and if it's being carried over, I buy extra paper because I love these sets, and you've already made an investment in your set. So why not have all of the things that you need to make it the way you would most use it? So my card is going to have this darling little bird, and I have to tell you, this is the best bird set I think we've ever had. I'm thinking about the Christmas cardinal for a minute and thinking, yeah, that's a good one too. Got caught in my paper there. And so we're going to have these little, like I said, I just want this for my element. I want to make sure I keep my hands on the camera. I'm trying a new system today, which is kind of fun. I have been watching Rachel Tessman's videos on Switcher to Studio, so I am trying it out. And I'm hoping that it could be a less complicated way for me to really show you what I want to show you, and make it easier for myself as well. I've used Zoom all along, and that's a little bit more complicated when you want to show multiple hands. So if any of you are wondering, you know, I think I'd like to try that, go watch Rachel Tessman's videos because they are really, really good. So here we go. I now have my elements, my words. I now have my little bird, which I have a little hanging piece of paper I need to get rid of. Okay, we have one more piece of work to do before we're ready to go. We need to score our paper for the fancy fold. Okay, I do use my there we go. I do use my paper cutter also as my scoring. I find that it is really successful, and so that's what I do. And it's just having one tool out at a time, and heaven knows we all need that too. So I'm going to start, and I'll tell you that my piece of paper here is 5 1/4 by 11 3/4. Make sure when you cut out that piece of paper that you're thinking it's going to be a horizontal picture, and so you want to make sure that you cut your paper in such a way that it fits that. I have failed to do that on a time or two, and I am going to score this element first at 1 3/4 on this long side, and I want to just point out that your paper cutter has two little doodads. This dark one is for cutting. I've slide that up, and the other one is for scoring. So 1 3/4 is my first score. My next score is at 4 3/4, and the last is at 7 3/4. Now, Designer Series paper is a nice sturdy paper, but keep in mind that it is not as heavy, for instance, as cardstock. So make sure how you are cognizant that when you're pushing down on that paper, that you don't push down so hard that you create a situation where your paper tears. So now I'm going to start with my biggest section, and I'm going to fold, and I'm going to use my bone folder to get a nice firm fold. Then I'm going to fold back again, so you're really just doing an accordion feel. And last but not least, we're going to, and now we have just a great fold. Okay? Now, it's a lot of folding, and so I want to just have it look more like this. So this becomes my decoration as opposed to a fold. So I am going to seal this one fold closed. I'm using a Stampin' Seal for this. It's a nice, sticky, adhesive, works well. I'm then going to take this great piece of paper, and I am going to mount it onto a 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 piece of paper, cardstock, and I believe that it's daffodil yellow. I love this stuff because it's so sticky, but sometimes just getting it started is kind of a trick. There we go. So now we're going to put this, we want to have a nice little border all the way around. So I'm going to slide this around so I have a better look. Okay, we're ready to go. So the next thing I want to do is, in our new Contours stamp set, we have these really great stitched rectangles that I just think are beautiful. So we are going to start putting together a fun little piece. To start with, I have 2 larger pieces of paper, and I will put these dimensions on after we've finished with this, and 1 small one. So I'm going to come back to that. Well, maybe I'll just go with it right now. The small one is for my cute little bird that I just cut out. And you can see how darling that little bird, and it brings out all the yellow. So let's just mount these and see what we got. I cut pieces of white, basic white paper, just enough to go inside the stitching because I really wanted my stitching to show. I'm just going to use some basic multi-liquid glue. A little bit goes a long way. I'm a former school teacher, and that was one of those little fun things you always taught your students every year. There we go. And this one is where I just wanted to say, and just to make it different, I cut off the little end so that I could just butt it up with the side and make it a little bit more interesting. So once again, I'm going to use that glue. This is, I embossed white on Pool Party, but my background for my desktop is a little close to that Pool Party. It kind of gets lost. I'm going to go right to the edge, and now I have a darling element to put on the front of the card, but I'm not going to put it on. I'm going to let it dry just for a minute. Okay. The middle section is going to have the Celebrate, but I want to have room enough that I can use this as my signature. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. I love the shape of this one. I think it's so pretty. Again, we'll put that off to the side. And the last one, we're going to have a little fun with it. So we're going to stamp. Oh dear. Hold on, I left my ink pad behind. I'll be right back. I love when I do that. I guess it's all just means that I've been busy stamping away. So this time I'm going to be using the Free as a Bird set. Let me get that so you can actually see it. Again, as I told you, it's its third year in the annual catalog, which is really quite a bit of time. I like it when we have these kind of carryovers. When my stamp is bigger than my ink pad, I find that it's easier to ink up by just laying my stamp down face up and inking up. And it really doesn't seem to matter how inky the, I'm going to put a piece of paper down here just so I don't get ink everywhere, and then I'll lift it again. I really want these three little birds. That's what I'm going for on this piece of paper. So I'm going to just kind of do it like this. Okay. And I'll leave this piece of paper here because I'm going to use alcohol markers today, and one thing I can tell you is alcohol markers do, they're an alcohol-based ink, and they do permeate through a lot of stuff, and so you want to protect your surface. Even when I'm using an alcohol ink on my envelopes, I tend to slide a piece of scratch paper inside the envelope so that it doesn't bleed through. So right now I'm going to use my Dark Mango Melody. It's going to be my beaks. It's going to be my feet. Just going to have a little fun. It's really not about being in the lines. It's just making that color noticeable. Okay. I'm also going to use my Crumb Cake pens. And by the way, these pens come in a light and a dark. And I'm going to just do this, the branch of we're going to add a little bit more action here in just a sec. So that was the light. Now I'm going to go with the dark, and just some of these places, just to give it a little shadowing. Doesn't take much, but it makes it a lot more interesting. So Then I'm going to go to my olive greens, and boy, I hope this morning I didn't check them. Olive green I use more than any other color. Therefore, I'm constantly needing to update the pens. When you teach classes, and well, I want everybody to color and have as much fun as I do. I do a lot of, I use a lot of pens. And that's okay. That's a good thing. Okay, now I'm going to go back with my green, my darker green, and I'm just going to add some interest. Just make it a little bit fun. When I have larger pieces, I'm much more cognizant of how I am shading, but this is so small that technically what you're doing is just adding interest, texture, color, and it makes it so fun. Alrighty, there we go. Got those done. Let's take a look at our little flowers and make sure that they stand out, because it's one of our main colors in this whole. Again, I'm just poofing on the color, but I'm really going to add interest when I add the darker color. Just wait and see. You know, I'm going to use, I think I'm going to go back to the mango and just add so that I can get more color, because I really, really, really want that yellow to pop. There we go. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go back to my darkest so saffron, and I am going to kind of put some yellow into the bellies of my cute little birdies, because again, as I said, I'm trying to really add a little color, a little punch, even though for the most part these are little bluebirds. We're going to use the very light Pool Party to kind of color up these birds. It's a little light for our birds. On the other hand, I used just a blue earlier today, and I was really disappointed. So I am going to do things just a little different this time. We're going to come back in a minute and color and make this up after I get the dark in. So I want to add the dark color around the head, around the wings. As you can see, I'm just kind of doing some nice, and you know, we got cheater marks. Stampin' Up's already given us those. We know where we need to add color. Okay, now I'm going to go back with my blue and just blend, or my light Pool Party, and blend it. And I've always been taught that you pull the dark into the light, and it just makes for a beautiful effect. So that's where I want to start working my darkest areas and pull it forward. It matters probably the most in this little guy, because he has the most blue in him. Well, he turned out so good. All right, there we go. We have our little birds all ready to go. We're going to add the happy birthday right here. So let me ink that up, or glue that up. Oops, that's a lot. Whew. Didn't take my own advice on that one. And now all I have to do is assemble. So I'm going to start with this one, actually. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal, because I want it to be nice and firm. There's nothing worse than spend all the time that you guys spend creating beautiful cards, not to have them hold together in a way that, you know, makes people look at them and say, oh, that's just beautiful. Then I'm going to apply this one to the back of the base. I guess it isn't the back, it's the front of the base. But I'm going to go back here, and I really want to center it. So I want to have the same amount of border all the way around. Then I'm going to take my piece of white that has no frame and put it next. Mostly, I want it simply to line up with the one I just put down. And this fits in there really nice, so it's there. And all that's left now is my last little piece that had the element that I cut out of the decorator paper, or the designer series paper, excuse me. And to do this one, I'm going to close the card, and I simply want to frame it. I want to frame it in such a way that it almost layers, so you can see a little white, but everything else is covered up. And there we have our card. And it is yummy nummy. Hopefully this is one you would want to send. It just, I love birds. I guess it makes me sing. It makes my heart sing too. So there you have it. We did Free as a Bird, we did many messages, and we had fun. So now let me show you what I have to offer you today that I think is really exciting. First of all, I want you to know that if you go to my website today, which is www, let me put it up here for you. It's www.fancynancystamps.com, and you do /contact, and you fill out my contact form to receive sales, newsletters, ideas. You will receive a free gift from me in the mail, a happy mail. So I want you to definitely take advantage of that. The other thing I have is I told you I had an ordering special, and let me tell you about that. I am starting an online in-color club, and it will begin in June. Each month you will receive one package of the in-color cardstock, depending on which color I choose for the month. You will also get a classic ink pad and a re-inker, plus you will also get the Stampin' Alcohol blends. This club will last for 5 months, so it is a 5-month commitment. On the 5th month, you will also receive a package of in-color designer series paper and matching gems. There's actually more. Each month, as I said, you will receive the colors, but you will also receive a card kit that allows you to make 8 cards. It'll be 4 different designs to each of those 4 designs. Always there's a coordinating stamp set and dies, and you may choose to use them, or you may choose to use your own stamps. In any case, I will make that stamp set and dies available to you at an 18% discount. So it's definitely a great way to increase your stash, if you will. Now here is the good part. If you subscribe to this club during the week of May 23rd to May 30th, so starting today and going through next Sunday, you will also receive a set of in-color Stampin' Write markers as a free gift from me, celebrating my 15-year anniversary. So this is an awesome opportunity for you. Besides just getting a great card club, building your in-color collection, and getting free gifts, and there's just nothing better than that. I will put this information also out for you on my website here on Facebook, and hope that you will read it. If you have questions, please send me an email. Fill out the contact form like I suggested, and that's yet another free gift. And I promise you that we will make that all available to you. I'm really hoping that this is something you're really interested in, that you will join me for the next 15 days, because I guarantee you they are going to be a fun 15 days, and there will be an ordering special you're going to want to take advantage of. A 15-year anniversary is nothing to sneeze at, and for me, it just tells you I've had 15 years of great fun. Why am I doing this? It's not just celebrating my 15th anniversary. I have to tell you that I have not only enjoyed my 15 years, I have had face-to-face classes, I've had kid classes and adult classes and retreats, you name it, stamp camps. But on my 15th year, I decided I wanted to take it up a notch, and I am going full on to my online business. And I'm introducing it through this 15-year promotion. And I'm really hoping that you're going to see some wonderful things that can be done right here. I am going to, like I said, I'm going to continue to invite you to join me for this activity. It's going to be fun. And I promise that each day you're going to see something a little different. You're going to see a lot of different stamp sets, a lot from the new catalog, still some from the mini that has not yet finished, and we're just going to enjoy ourselves. So join me along the way, 15-year anniversary, and we'll just continue to have a little bit of fun.